In the ancient kingdom of Macedon, a prince was born in the city of Pella. The year was 356 BCE. His name was Alexander, son of King Philip II, a formidable warrior and statesman. His mother, the enigmatic Olympias, spoke of divine signs, of serpents and thunderbolts at the time of his conception and his birth. Was he merely a prince or something more? A child touched by the gods, destined for unparalleled greatness. Philip, his father, was ambitious. He forged Macedon into a power. He reformed its army, creating the mighty phalanx. He dreamed of uniting Greece and then of challenging Persia, the colossal empire to the east. Young Alexander watched and learned. Even as a boy, he showed spirit. The famous tale of Bucephalus, a wild, untamable stallion, offered to King Philip. No one could ride him. Alexander, barely a teen, saw why. The horse feared its own shadow. He turned it to the sun and mounted, a king in the making. King Philip understood power. He also understood the power of mind. He sought the greatest tutor for his promising son Alexander. His choice was legendary. Aristotle, the philosopher. Imagine the lessons learned from such a monumental intellect. Aristotle taught Alexander many things: logic, ethics, and politics, literature, especially Homer's Iliad. Alexander treasured this epic. It spoke of heroes, of glory, of Achilles, his supposed ancestor. He carried it on all his campaigns, a constant source of inspiration. The philosopher also imparted knowledge of botany, zoology, and medicine, a curiosity about the natural world. This would travel with Alexander. He took scientists on his expeditions to study new lands, new plants, new animals, expanding the boundaries of Greek knowing. This education was a crucible, forging intellect with ambition. Aristotle's teachings on governance and on Greek superiority, these ideas shaped Alexander's worldview. He was a Greek, a Macedonian, destined to lead and perhaps to rule the known world. The stage was set, then sudden, shocking change. In 336 BCE, King Philip II was assassinated, struck down. A moment of crisis for Macedon. Alexander was just 20 years old, a youth thrust onto the throne. Many rivals saw their chance, but Alexander was no ordinary youth. He acted with lightning speed and with utter ruthlessness. Potential claimants to the throne, eliminated. Rebellious Greek city-states, crushed. Thebes dared to defy him openly. He razed it to the ground, a terrifying example for all. With Greece subdued, he looked east to his father's unfulfilled dream, the invasion of the Persian Empire. An act of vengeance, some said, for Persia's past invasions of Greece. An act of ambition, certainly, to seize unimaginable wealth and to achieve eternal glory. In 334 BCE, the die was cast. Alexander led his army across the Hellespont, from Europe into Asia Minor. His forces were not enormous, perhaps 40,000 men, but they were disciplined, battle-hardened, and they believed in their young king. Section 4. Across the Hellespont, the Persian giant awakens. The Persian Empire was immense, stretching from Egypt to India. It was ruled by Darius III, a king of kings. He commanded vast resources and countless soldiers, but he did not yet grasp the threat posed by this Macedonian upstart. The first major test came quickly at the Granicus River. Alexander, true to his nature, led the charge himself, straight into the Persian lines. He was nearly killed, but his personal bravery was infectious. His companion cavalry shattered the enemy. This victory was decisive. It opened the western part of Asia Minor to Alexander. Cities surrendered, one by one. He freed Greek cities from Persian rule, proclaiming himself their liberator. A skillful blend of conquest and political maneuvering. Darius began to take notice. This was no mere raid, this was a full-scale invasion. He started to gather his main forces, preparing for a larger confrontation. Alexander, meanwhile, pressed on, securing his supply lines and marching deeper into enemy territory. Section 5. Crumbling Crowns, from Issus to Egypt's embrace. The next great clash occurred at Issus in 333 BCE, a narrow plain between mountains and sea. Darius III himself led the Persian host, a numerically superior army. But Alexander's tactics were superior. He spotted a weakness and exploited it brilliantly. Alexander led his cavalry in a decisive charge, aimed directly at Darius. Panic seized the Persian king. He fled the battlefield. His army disintegrated. A stunning victory for Alexander. Even Darius's family was captured. Alexander treated Darius's mother, his wife and children with respect. A calculated act of clemency, it enhanced his reputation. He then marched south along the coast. The Phoenician city of Tyre resisted. A 7-month siege ensued. Alexander's engineering skill triumphed. Then to Egypt, a land ancient even then. The Egyptians, weary of Persian rule, welcomed Alexander as a liberator. The priests at the Siwa oasis proclaimed him son of Amun, a divine endorsement. He founded Alexandria, a future marvel. Section 6. The world is not enough. To India's edge and the great refusal. Darius offered peace, vast territories, immense gold. Alexander's general, Parmenion, advised acceptance. "I would accept if I were Alexander." Alexander famously replied, "So would I if I were Parmenion." He wanted the entire Persian Empire. The final confrontation was at Gaugamela in 331 BCE. Alexander's tactical genius shone against Darius's diverse army. Darius fled, and Babylon, Susa, Persepolis fell. Alexander was now lord of Asia, but his ambition burned ever brighter. He pushed further east into Bactria and Sogdia, facing fierce resistance. He married Roxana, a Sogdian princess. Then he turned towards India. In 326 BCE, he fought King Porus at the Hydaspes River, a hard-fought victory. Impressed, Alexander reinstated Porus, but his own army had reached its limit. Section 7. A new epoch, the Hellenistic legacy and echoes in time. At the Hyphasis River in India, Alexander's weary troops refused to march further east. They longed for home. Alexander yielded to the will of his men. The great eastward expansion was over. The return journey was arduous. Part of the army suffered terribly, crossing the Gedrosian desert. Back in Persia, Alexander began to implement his vision of a blended Greco-Persian culture. He organized mass marriages between his soldiers and Persian women. He adopted some Persian customs and attire to the dismay of some traditional Macedonians. He planned further exploration, circumnavigation of Africa, Arabia, but his time was short. In Babylon, in 323